Hey, everybody, this is Jay Young, the host of the Jay Young Show. And, man, I'll tell you, it's been a great day, good week, and I'm looking forward to our next interview. Alex Love Lee, founder of Legends Equity Group. We met through one of my other friends that was on the podcast a couple of years ago, Jessica, and we met through her, and then I started looking into your stuff. Alex, welcome to the show. Thank you for coming today.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
And thank you, Jessica Brothers, watching this. Thank you for the introduction.
Yeah, thanks, Jessica. Appreciate that. Appreciate the introduction. And I started digging, and I'm like, man, I got to have this guy on the show. Man, this guy's he's a mover and a shaker. Is that what would you consider yourself a mover and a shaker?
Yeah, I would say I'm someone that challenges the status quo a bit. Wherever I see something that's kind of out of place, I'll challenge it, and yeah.
Okay. Well, you're in the real estate space,
Mhm.
but you take on real estate investing in kind of a different light. Most people they look for a real estate deal, and then they look at it and they go, okay, it's going to cost $2 million. I got to put 20% down, and then I gotta go buy it, and then I've got to increase the value if I need to by renovating it or do something value add, and then renting it out and all that. That's the normal. That's kind of the normal way. But you do things a little differently in putting your deals together and the money. Do you want to explain kind of how Legends began and what's your idea of a good time?
My idea of a good time.
Well,
Okay.
I mean, in the Legends Equity
I'm just
Group.
kidding. Yeah.
You live in Vegas. I know.
I-
Hey, he lives in Vegas, so we got to watch that very carefully. But
yeah.
no.
So, I think it's important to know that I come from a personal development background, like the Tony Robbins type of trainings, like where Tony Robbins actually came from in LifeSpring and S. So I truly believe in self-discovery, personal transformation, and the importance of building true relationships around us. And that real estate and all the things that we do outside reflects the state of condition of the life that we have, the level of peace, the level of joy and fulfillment that we live with. So, real estate is top level of what I do, and it attracts a lot of people into the space. But I bring people through, life-changing personal development type of events, the retreats that we throw, things like that, to nurture relationships, teach people how to communicate, allow them to look deeper inside themselves of what truly matters and what's truly important. And from there, make real estate investments from an aligned place of both mind and heart, because most of what we see out there in the market is all mind, which is it's all about the numbers, it's all about the returns, and there isn't a connection to why we're even buying real estate. People go as far as, well, I'm doing real estate to create financial freedom. Okay, well, go a couple layers deep of why that's important to you, why that's important to your family, and why are you doing real estate? Why would you just buy anywhere? When people are only looking at numbers, at some point they lose their way a little bit. So, the way I do real estate is not only in the way that we create our funds and our programs, but it's very impact driven. I
Yeah.
would say.
Well, and two, what I think about is you like to be around people, and you're a motivational speaker. You spoke in front of lots of people, and you like that about your friends and employees, and you're like, hey, yeah, let's have a good time. Oh, but wait a minute, we got to make money. We got so it's like you're putting a spin on, or you're trying to figure out, okay, how can we all get together? We all know what we're supposed to be doing. We need to bring some equity, need to bring some sweat equity, or we need to do this, but we also need to make money. So that's kind of Jordan Soto, my co-host, who couldn't be here today. Jordan is in the same way that she talks about. She loves when I talk about goals and achieving them and putting them out there and doing what it takes, because she's like, I love real estate. She'll be one of your people too, and I'll introduce you guys later on. but Jordan loves real estate, but she just doesn't know how to really get there. Doesn't know how to, doesn't understand, looking through all the ads and finding the right deal. Turn deals down if it's not the right one. You got to, it's only special kind that you can do, number one. And then number two, how do you put the equity together to do that, or the sweat equity? So I think that's kind of where Legends Equity Group was born, is where you're talking about. Tell me about a deal, or tell me about the last deal you did, and kind of how that worked.
The last deal I did. Okay. So I typically, up to this point, so I kind of just want to create a little bit of a framework around my mindset.
Okay.
Most people go into real estate and immediately they think about how much can I afford, what credit score I gotta have, and and then they go and try to buy real estate or prepare themselves for that. So sometimes people wait 2 years, 3 years trying to save up. I had a friend tell me that he's been living in his mom's basement for 3 years trying to save up $50,000 to buy real estate, and he realized after that was his plan 3 years ago, and now 3 years in, 50 grand isn't enough to even buy anything. So first of all, when you are trying to buy using only your own income and your own savings and all of that, you're going to compete with 99.999% of real estate purchasers, I would say, right? So you're not going to get the best deal, number one. And two, you're going to have to settle. And three, you're going to limit yourself. Because if you're really going to become a real estate investor, there are certain thresholds that offer higher returns and lower risk. And so I think people need a little bit of a self-assessment in that first. Because, I have a bunch of people that finally saved up enough money, bought a piece of real estate, and realized, oh my God, this was so much work. Even if they rented it out, they're like, people are calling me real late and it's stressing me out. I just want to get out of it and be done. And then what do? They just throw it back into that 401k IRA, which I totally don't believe in that whole system. And we can get into that. But, the mind shift is real estate is a game of leverage, right? Real estate is a game of leverage. That means, how do I leverage other people's money? Because you're going to do it anyways. You're going to leverage the bank's money, right? So how do I leverage other people's money so that we can go and buy something bigger that's actually a greater return and less people are competing at?
Right.
I think to invest in real estate, you got to think from that perspective. So what if you're able to, be trained on that mindset, and you look at every deal from that place, and all you have to do is go and find the money.
Yeah.
Right. Then now we're back to the everything is a relationship game.
Right.
Know? So the last deal I did, so I actually didn't get the last deal closed, but I can share that as well. But the last deal that we actually closed was a 30 unit here in Las Vegas downtown. I'm actually, because I'm a big vision person and everything I do wants to be, I want to be impact driven. So it's in downtown Fremont, Las Vegas. I believe that, the late Tony Hsieh, who was the founder of Zappos, bought everything in that area, and he wanted to redevelop it, create community, make it a tech hub, like really artsy, kind of like Wynwood in Florida. And he passed away before he was able to do it, but he had created a couple really beautiful properties, like the Container Park and Ferguson's down there. So I felt really connected to his vision of serving people and creating community and having a place that people can call home, like a tribe, not actually just like a building or something, right? So I purchased a 30 unit deal in Las Vegas, which was in that area, right by the Fremont Experience area. It was a 30 unit, like amazing location, and it was $5 million. I put the money down in the beginning for kind of like the down payment and the things that, or the deposit and the things that was needed, got it under contract. And then I raised the rest of the capital. I have a community, I raised capital, about $2.5 million, and we closed the deal. So it's about leverage. It's about creating the relationships and creating a win-win, actually. It's a win, I believe, for me. It's a win for my investors to be involved in the deal like that, which I have passion for. And I believe it's going to be a win for that area as well, because we're going to be buying more things over there using the same structure, which, people know as syndications. But, now we've gone to a place, because I've done a lot of syndications. Now I'm flipping it over to a fund, right? Because I have this vision, I know what I want to do there. And so we create an investment thesis now, and we raise the capital on the front end instead of on the back end, which is, I feel like it brings way more peace of mind.
Yeah. Yeah. Is that on Fremont Street or Fremont, Nevada?
So in Fremont Street, like,
Fremont
the
Street,
Fremont
downtown.
experience is old Las Vegas.
Yeah.
40 million people visit there a year. It's
Okay.
it's right there.
Yeah, okay.
So
I just thought I was wondering where it was, and I was confused. But you just kind of said, okay, it's $5 million to buy it, and then it's 30 units. You found $2.5 million. Is that from just pass the hat within your community, I guess?
Yeah, so I've been raising capital for real estate for a while, so sometimes it's not, people, you may have friends and family that will immediately invest with you because that's the relationship you've built up to this point. But for most people, they've never, money is kind of like a taboo conversation. And so nobody talks about money, nobody talks about investments. So it's hard for them even to bring it up. And so, the first thing I always tell people is that's a great place to look at how you've done relationships.
Yeah.
Especially if you're not able to talk to your family and friends about an investment opportunity. That's a win for them too.
Right.
Right. It's like you're afraid to talk about that. What's up with that?
Right. Okay.
And that's the first place to look. So that's why I love real estate in that sense.
No, it's good. So you're Taiwanese and Japanese roots, right? And that's kind of your background. How does that help you from what you've seen being around other people? How has that helped you with your community?
Being Taiwanese and Japanese?
Yeah. Is there any ties to that, or is there any? I don't know. I'm just trying to think. Is that?
I don't know really. I don't think so. It's not like I actually have a full Asian community or anything like that. But I am 39. I just turned 39. People think I'm 28 or 25.
You do look great. I know you.
I don't know if that's
help.
I don't know if that's a help or not.
Yeah, well, that's good. Okay, so you have a community. Tell us a bit about because that's your culture, right? Your community, and how many people are in your community? And how did you build it, and what do you do to keep building it? Can you just kind of talk about that?
Yeah.
Very interesting story.
So, I've always been I always feel like a part of something was always like the calling of my heart. I'm always called to be a part of a group. I grew up playing basketball, and, I went to college. I played some basketball there, and not on the team, but I played a lot of basketball, and I love team sports. And then I joined a fraternity. So I always wanted to be a part of a group of some sort. I actually believe that human beings are really tribally wired, and writing a book actually called Tribal Mindset. But we're tribally wired, and we work better inside a community. We know who we are. We know what our roles are, and it calls us to step up. Versus when we are isolated, we become jaded to the world, and we don't trust in people, and we just spiral further and further down that place towards, depression. So I think it's healthy to be a part of a community. I've joined and been a part of tons of different communities. When it came to real estate, I joined a bunch of different masterminds just for the community. And, when I started my community was because I felt like there was something always missing in these masterminds and stuff. And it was the heart-centered place. We could bring more transformation and more personal development, bring more God into these spaces. And so, I was like, this is kind of missing. Everybody was always trying to upsell somebody. There's always a sell. There's always a sell. It was just all sales, and it was it was a linear transaction all the time. They preach one thing, but at the end of the day, it's like, just buy more of my stuff. Right, pay more without the actual tangible thing. So I actually created a community now with its community leaders, where when they buy into our high ticket item, not only do they get all of our like live events and all of these things and the learning, they immediately get put into a group which is going to be part of a fund. So a group of 12. And from there, they get taught exactly how to run a fund. They get, live, working on deals and deal analysis and all of that. And I teach the whole group. And together, we put a couple funds together and we go after a larger deal. And then at the same time, when we purchase a deal, they get credited back at minimum what they bought the program for in equity. So, I'm always looking, how do we create the ultimate win-win? And then they become leadership in our community, and their 15K that comes in allows us to have working capital, to have more people on our team, to spend a lot more money on ads, to build out a larger investor pool where our leadership gets to go in there and raise the capital. I edify them on our calls, and then now they go out and they network and do that. Like, that's how I raised $10 million for my first 6 deals, because I just created a community where I wasn't even paying for ads, and I just met with people. It was 1 year of 11 Zoom calls a day, every single day.
Oh my gosh!
And that's how I raised. Yeah, how I raised 10 million that year.
I love it.
Yeah, and bought 800 units, of commercial real estate. So if I can do that, now I'm just replicating it. I'm like, here, you get all this opportunity, but I want to see your buy-in. I want to see your commitment. You get, you're paying us, which gives you the pool, which gives you, leadership, and you're edified. Right? Even your business increases when you do that. And then on the back end, we buy real estate, and you get minimum of that equity back into your pocket. So
right.
It's the ultimate win-win. Yeah.
Wow. 11 Zoom calls a day for a year to raise 10 million.
I grinded.
Man, who set those appointments for you?
I did.
You did?
Nobody else. We created these communities. I hosted these like networking calls, and I just put my calendar in there. I'm like, hey, I got some spots open. Here you go. Anybody want to connect? I wasn't even trying to raise capital. I knew that's what I needed to do.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to get to know a lot of people.
Wow.
And then at the end of I think that one of the most important things that people miss when they're networking is, if you get a no, if they're not interested in what you're doing, you can always ask for a referral. Like, do you have anyone that I can meet? I just want to meet really cool people.
Yeah.
Or do you have anybody that might be interested in this space, or a teacher or somebody that I can meet? Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. That's amazing. That's so good. I mean, that's really talking about grind. I mean, so you did 800 units. Is that how you?
Yeah, we did 800 units that year.
That's great. So you just kind of started getting email lists together, and friends and foes, and just kind of.
It was.
How big's your community now?
To start, huh?
How big is your community now? Do you have and how do you keep them together?
So on our list we have, I don't know how many thousands, but I know last year when we did our just to look at how many people came through our Zoom, it was 4,000 unique names that signed into our Zoom. So onto our free Monday night calls that we do.
Oh, so you do a Monday night call?
It's just networking, huh?
Yeah, you do a Monday night call every week?
Yeah, every week. It's called the Rookie Roundtable, and people come. We do a little introduction of ourselves. We highlight some of our key members in our community, the leadership, and then we teach a little bit about real estate, and then we break them out into breakout rooms, and they just meet each other. So,
well,
yeah,
that's great. So you just keep marketing. I guess that's where the leads that you're generating for your bigger deals, or to get the money, whatever. You're just kind of building a community around your. I guess you increase your list of people, email list, and just keep inviting people, and they just keep coming, and then all of a sudden you go, hey,
it was organic for a while, and this year we're actually looking to spend somewhere in the mid to high 6 figures in ads to just build out an even bigger community. We have a system, right? So now it's just about pumping fuel into the machine. So,
right.
Yeah.
How will you on Google, or how would you spend the 100,000, or how would you spend
probably
the 6 figures?
Facebook ads,
Facebook
ads, Eventbrite ads, YouTube ads, things like that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Good. How much money did you raise last year, or what was business last year like, and what's it going to be this year?
Last year, so 2024 was probably one of the harder years in real estate that I've been a part of, just because of the interest rate hike, and any deals that were bought in the last 2 years lost a lot of evaluations, and the typical investment strategy of getting some sort of bridge loan and doing value add and then refinancing, which worked for 10 years, right? Like all of a sudden just hit a wall because interest rates shot up so high so fast you couldn't even refinance. Interest rates shot up so fast that, like, if you were going into a refinance process, your interest rate would have gone from 4.5% to like 8.5% in the time you're trying to refinance.
Oh my gosh!
So
wow,
it was brutal. So last year was a year of just operations and really like doubling and tripling down on communications with our investors. I think it's the nature of the real estate cycle, and at the end of the day, your investors want to know you're doing the best that you can, and that you're not slacking.
Right.
I know there were so many people that lost deals, and I had so many friends that invested with really, really big time guru type of people that they just lost their deals, and they didn't even send out communication about it. As soon as the troubles came, I started doing weekly investor Zoom calls.
Yeah. Wow.
We used to do quarterly and send out newsletters on a monthly basis. I started doing weekly. I wanted everyone to know that they can contact me. I will not disappear. And and we've operated through most of our challenging properties. We have one that's still challenging right now, but we have a path, and I don't think so we have a path and we have a plan.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Those are the hard parts that people don't normally talk about, right? So I believe with that comes a ton of opportunities, which, I actually do like one thing that Grant Cardone says, is that when there's blood on the streets, buy real estate, even if it's yours. You know? If there's blood on the street, even if it's yours, buy real estate, because now's the time. If people are losing deals, this is really the time to come in and buy deals at a discount. And so we're in this correction phase, but what comes after correction is recovery, right? Recovery is where people add multiple zeros to their net worth when people are ready. But majority of the people are, oh my God, real estate is bad right now, so we're gonna go buy crypto, which is at its peak. And so it's just this mindset that people need to be educated on. It's like, if you experience FOMO, like fear of missing out, that's the time that you put the brakes on. Right? When there's blood on the streets and people are losing deals, that's when you got to like really double down, triple down on learning about real estate and getting in the game. I mean, that's how I started. I bought right after the 07, 08 period, and I bought this triplex for $200,000, and in a year and a half it was worth $660,000.
Wow.
I didn't even do anything.
Wow. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
That's a great thing about real estate.
That's an opportunity right now.
Yeah. That great thing about real estate is normally it goes up, doesn't come down. Oil and gas may go down, but real estate, oil and gas goes up faster and down faster than real estate. But real estate, the good thing about real estate, if you can buy good real estate and you can pay your way, and buy it and generate enough income to pay the note, if there is a note, or obviously there's going to be maintenance and things of that nature, real estate will go up over time. It may not be, get rich slow sometimes, because it's, but
and fast.
Yeah, and fast too. Yeah, 200 to 600. I mean, that's the deals that everybody's chasing. Everybody's looking for that deal, obviously. But no, that's good. And Warren Buffett said that way before Grant Cardone did. I'm not trying to cut down Grant Cardone, but yeah, blood in the streets. But yes, that is true. When people are out there and they can't find, they're losing deals, or the deals are just off the cuff, and they need to get rid of deals. If you have people that are trying to refinance a 3-4% note and they're having to pay 8 or 9, and they lose they're trying to refinance, or trying to, you get an appraisal on it, and the appraisal's 30-40% below what they were, and they got to refinance, or they call the note. Man, there's opportunity. So that's a good thing. That's why people, that's how people make really good money. Is is opportunity like that. So that's really good. But I really thinking about your network and what you're bringing to the table is you're bringing a lot of good. It's like you're going to the top of the mountain and you're just saying, hey, here I am. Love for you to invest in real estate with me and keep a part of my. I think somewhere you called it a tribe. Call it your tribe, because it's your network of people that with Legends Equity Group and they're just kind of getting together, and then all of a sudden you say, hey, I'm getting ready to buy a deal. Give me a call, and just do deals like that. Is that kind of how because you need to make money. You can't just all of a sudden expect to, do this every week and expect it to pay the bills. That's not going to pay the bills. That's the way to pay the bills is obviously to get deals done.
Yeah, there's a lot of different ways to pay the bills too, but the one thing that just shifting a little bit in that is like going to the top of the mountain, but we're all here. It's like, hey, we're all here, right? Because I'm teaching everybody to do what I'm doing, so we can come to the table with more, right? So like so like this year, my goal is to pick up like a $90 million institutional multifamily or a hotel, and we'll probably do probably a couple of them. So part of these small individual funds, we bring 5 or 6 of them together into one cohort. The important thing is that we're moving together as one unit versus everyone else out there is trying to pick pieces out everywhere, and everyone's focused on making money, which means there are so many layers from the investor to the actual deal that take fees and take overrides and cuts. But because we're in one community like this, and I'm part of all the mini funds, the main fund that purchased doesn't even have to charge anything. So for me, like majority of my working capital comes from people paying on the front end. And of course, the money really comes from doing a real estate deal. But every deal is a stepping stone to something bigger. I want more access to the people with money, right? The family offices, the high net worth. I want to show them that I'm in the game. Yeah. It's funny because last year I was at this family office event, and I've done, deals that are sub $15 million. And I thought I was, I'm like, I'm going to make great connections and all of that. And I realized that their minimum check that they write is $15 million.
Yeah.
That means if I didn't have a $45 million deal, I wasn't even playing the game in their eyes.
Right.
So, I made some good connections. And what I actually did at that event was I just found somebody. I met somebody that actually had $100 million to deploy, and I just introduced him to everyone.
Yeah.
So I kind of became this like cool, popular kid. And this year, the same event, everybody brought people to me, and I got to share my vision. And this time, I'm like, we're going to have $15 million to deploy between me and my community. And everyone had their ears perked up, and they're like, oh, how do we partner? How can I help you? Right. So I have family offices that are giving me their contacts in the lending space, giving me their contacts for their multifamily advisors and analysts and bringing deals. So I'm pretty confident that this year, myself and our leadership of our community will bring about $15 million to the table. And, we're going to get partnered in with a family office of our choosing because, we're bringing that much cash, and we'll buy an institutional asset, and not from something that's on the market. We'll probably be buying it directly from a lender. Right. Arbor, I had a guy from Arbor that I talked to. He's like, we have 35 deals that's about to go into receivership, meaning they're about to take it back. They're already delinquent on their loan over 2.5 months. And if they found the right buyer, they would offload those deals. So it's just like a very quick example. There was a $53 million deal. The note was $40 million. And, the lender's like, well, if we make a couple bucks off of this and break even, we're good. Just get us out of that. Right. That means whoever bought it, they bought it for $53 million. They put $7 million into the renovation of it, and we could get it at that type of a discount. Now, I definitely want to go in and see if we can create sort of a win-win in there too. I don't want somebody to lose all of their money, but the negotiation will start from there. But we will get it at a steep discount. Yeah. And that's the goal this year is like, how do I bring my whole community to that? Yeah. Right. I have access to the types of people that open these doors for me. I want my community to have that too. Right. And so together we actually create I create a possibility, an opportunity for people that normally would not have a chance to go into an institutional asset, right?
Right.
Especially if they're an unaccredited investor, they can't even invest into one.
Right.
They
Right.
can only invest into smaller, more risky deals, which is, the government trying to protect investors by saying if you don't make a certain amount of money or not a certain net worth, you can't invest in these good deals, but you can invest in crappier deals. Like
Right.
that doesn't even make sense to me, and now they're about to like up that amount. Like you got to make more now.
Right.
So, and then for accredited investors, you're never going to become a general partner on a deal, institutional asset. That doesn't belong. That field is for life insurance companies, BlackRock, some of the Grant Cardone types.
Mm-hmm.
But you go and even Grant Cardone, you go and ask them to be a general partner on there, no chance,
Right.
right? So
Right.
I'm giving everybody this opportunity, and doesn't exist,
Right.
and it only exists with access to family offices and large, high net worth people that can do this.
So do you have? So are you selling part of your GP or just the GP part of it, or are you bringing in limited partners? So
Yeah.
if you do a deal, I mean, there's a GP. Obviously, there's a GP that receives fees and gets a carry or back in or
Hmm.
whatever the case may be. That's the GP part.
Yep.
Then the LP part is the investors that
Yep.
you bring in. So are you raising money for both or just the LP?
So yeah, basically the GP sides are all the people that paid the 15K to come in, 12 person per fund, right? Because every one of these funds are really on the GP side, so
Yeah.
there is equity allocated to each one of these funds,
Mm-hmm.
and that means it goes back to you as you come in for 15K, you get a minimum of that equity. Now, if you also are doing other things for the fund, your equity can also go up and things like that. So yes, it is on one level me giving up a lot of my GP shares, but I get working capital on the front end to grow our community. So it's not about one deal for me, it's about scale, it's about the amount of people we can impact and really create a model that people can use.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a model that every mastermind should take on.
Yeah.
Everybody should use this model. This is the ultimate win-win for everyone. Everyone would feel good, and everyone would feel more all in, committed and to your community and behind you. So, yeah, and then the family offices will actually obviously come in as LPs, and whoever investors that we bring in will come in as LPs as well.
Okay. How do you put that number together? 15 grand for a GP. How many? You said you're doing how many of those? 12?
Yeah, 12 in each group. That means about $180,000 must be allocated to each one of the GP groups.
Okay.
So when you do some numbers, you can look at, all right, if we were to bring $2 million to the table, right, this fund, there is GP projection that can be allocated back to you, whether it's 400K and you allocate 180 back, and based on performance and other things that people take on and do,
Mm-hmm.
responsibilities and stuff like that, we can increase their equity share.
Okay.
And because I'm a part of every single one of those funds as well, we don't have to take an override in the main fund. So there is no double taxation for your normal investors.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting way to do it. Interesting way to do it. I mean, GPs can be sold either before or after, and you're just giving people the opportunity up front to be a part of an asset class that you could make money obviously up front, and you can help do more deals, because it takes money to do deals, man. It's not easy. They don't just walk out of the street or walk onto the street or walk out of the liquor store at 3 a.m. or something.
Yeah.
Man, they're hard to find, and there's a lot of people out there that you'll never see deals that are right underneath your nose, because people don't talk about them.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's why it's all about the people right? So
yeah.
it's all about the people and they got to know you as well, so they can
Yeah.
float you deals and what you're doing. So if I was able to raise $10 million in 1 year, in early on in my commercial game, I did residential for a while, but early on in that space, if I created 120 people that can all do that and taught them how to do it, and actually created the space for them to just go and find the money, they don't even have to do it themselves, right? Like, we will always be bringing money to the table.
Mm-hmm.
And if one of these guys go into any meetup and they say, hey, we're a managing partner or a general partner in this 400 unit Class A deal, they're automatically going to be elevated in those conversations, and who they're going to meet and what access they get to now, right? Coming back for the next year, 2026, like we're going to look like we're going to be doing, way more.
Right.
Because the way we're doing it actually is really, really conservative. We have family offices and stuff that'll come in for up to 90% of the down payment. So,
right.
We're bringing 50 to the table right now.
Right.
50%. Yeah.
That's good. That's good. I like that. I like that model. That's a good model. It seems like that you have
never been done and nobody's doing it.
Yeah. Nobody's selling their GP up front. So,
nope.
Actually we sold a little bit of one. Trying to think. No, not with Jessica, but back in COVID, because man, I was like, man, I need some cash, man. I'm sitting here, but anyway, doesn't matter. So let me ask you this. I mean, we're getting up against our time, 9 o'clock your time, and I appreciate you being on. I mean, if we tried to do this a couple of weeks ago, and man, we couldn't get our wires on the same deal. And but thank you very much for being back. I do appreciate that. So tell me, what got you started in real estate, and what's your favorite book, or if you were, we talked about this before too, if you're going to have dinner with one person, and in business, who would that be?
In business?
Yeah.
Well, some of my idols I've had dinner with, but one person that I really would love to have dinner with right now is Marianne Williamson. So she wrote the book A Return to Love. She's a Course in Miracles teacher. And, it's not your typical, people wouldn't say it's like, a business book, but it teaches me so much about everything.
Yeah.
About how to be with people, how to,
culture,
like really giving that over to all the things over to God and faith and stuff in that space.
That's great.
Yeah.
You mentioned in the notes that I have Kawasaki.
Yeah.
How long ago was it that you read his book, Rich Dad Poor Dad? When did you read it?
Rich Dad Poor Dad. I mean, if anybody is in the real estate space or investing space, you probably have picked up Rich Dad Poor Dad or the 4 Quadrants. I mean, those are probably the most, I would say, beyond all the, next to all the spiritual books that have impacted my life, those 2 books probably changed the way I thought about everything. Because I was really young, I was 17 or 16 years old when I picked that up, and I made a decision. I declared freedom.
Wow.
That I will never work for anybody.
Wow.
That I will figure out a way to buy real estate, and that's what I'm going to do.
Right.
And so I declared it when I was 17, and I never worked a job.
Wow, that's awesome. Good for you. Where'd you grow up?
I grew up in New Jersey.
Oh, you did?
I went to Rutgers, Newark.
New Jersey. Okay. No, in Kawasaki's got my book. I've got a picture of him with my book that I wrote, The Upside of Oil and Gas Investing. And I do have a picture, but that's about the only communication I've had with him, because I don't know if he ever read it or where he stands on it. But no, there are also some great Jim Rohn. Obviously,
Jim Rohn. I love Jim Rohn. Jim Rohn is like one of my heroes for sure. Actually, you know what? I would love to have dinner. I mean, I would have loved to have dinner with Jim Rohn for sure.
Yeah. What impacted you the most about him?
Jim Rohn is all in the personal development space. He
Yeah.
was a mentor of Tony Robbins, and I listened to every single thing he has on YouTube.
Wow.
Just the way he talks about, people, about relationships, about being with yourself, about self-reflections, even about how to build a team. There's so like removing all the egos around things. One thing that he said that really impacted me in the way I build my community and my team is build a team so strong, nobody knows who the leader is.
Wow. There you go. I like that.
That is hands down, like really like a quote or something that has impacted my life greatly in the way I built everything.
Wow. That's awesome. I was getting ready to ask you for the final question, what's the best piece of advice you ever got? But I think that's it.
So best advice that I and that stays with me also, is that only a few things matter to everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I don't even know where that came from, but it just,
Yeah.
once I heard that, I'm like, okay, life is actually very simple.
Yeah.
You know, only a few things matter to everything.
I'll tell you what, we can definitely make it difficult. We can definitely make it a lot more difficult than
We
it is.
do, we do. We got this crazy brain that just like shoots all these different thoughts and limiting beliefs and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, so Jordan, if Jordan was here, my co-host, which couldn't be here today, I mentioned, but if she was here, she'd ask you, what would you tell your 20-year-old self? What would the number one thing that if you had your 20-year-old self there, and what would you tell yourself?
Get yourself a mentor as fast as possible, no matter what you're doing. If you want to go to the gym and you want to get fit, get a mentor. If you want to learn to play the guitar, get a mentor. You open a restaurant, get a mentor. Real estate, get a mentor. You know, like, that's it. Get one.
Yeah.
I've lost so much money. I've lost everything before because I didn't have a mentor.
Yeah.
I would pay hundreds of thousands of dollars for the right mentor.
Oh, and I look at it like, I'm 62 years old right now, and I think that, there's a lot of time that I lost in that area because I didn't have the right mentor. And, I mean, we're successful. We've done pretty good, but I'm just saying that, like Mark Zuckerberg, Jeff Bezos, those kind of guys had somebody kicking them right in the whatever, and going, no. Mark, don't do this or don't do that, stay focused, go public. Bill Gates, I was listening to a really good, I was fortunate to listen to David Rubenstein this week in Florida. And Rubenstein's, he's really funny. And he's a great guy, really built up private equity group, Carlyle Group. $800 million in assets, but he's a funny guy, and he was interviewing different people and talking about it. Well, not actually, he was being interviewed, but I listened to his Bill Gates interview, and he's just really good at what at his questions, and he did ask Bill Gates, because Bill Gates is a Harvard dropout, and he did ask him. He said, hey, so if you'd have gotten your Harvard degree, do you think you'd have been more successful? It's like no, Bill Gates or the $100 billion. I don't think that would have helped. But it kind of just gets back. I'm sorry, that was kind of a long way to get back to the some people in life they just get it so much quicker. They get a mentor like you, and they listen to you, and they go, wow, you know what, man, this is what I need to do. I don't need to waste my time over here, chit-chatting or not being productive, and I need to make sure that I'm on target. I'm doing the things that I need to be doing instead of getting emotional or not being productive. How do I get? That's what I love about your deal. It's like, Alex, you said, hey, you know what? I love real estate, and I love getting people together, and your greatest gift, in my opinion, and what I see, and I don't know you real well, but is your ability to attract, really good, fun people, and to have a good time, and you care about people, you mentor people, and you wanted them to be a part of your group, but also there's this thing about bills, and you got to pay your bills. Okay, well, hey, let's all just get together and when the time comes and we find a good deal and everybody can make money in real estate, it's not about personal at that time. It's about business. You're not going to find some deal just to do a deal to make money, as you did last year, which I commend you for not doing a deal last year, because you could have done a deal last year just to do a deal. You could have said, hey, I'm doing a deal, just to do a deal to generate revenue for yourself, but you didn't do that because you didn't find the right real estate deal. So that was awesome. I think that's awesome. So this year will be different because there are deals that'll come to the surface, and you'll take advantage of those. So I think that's really, really good. I like that a lot with you, because I know a lot of guys in this space or oil and gas space that just do deals just to generate revenue for themselves, and it's like the investor comes second, but you put the investor first. You put your tribe first, and caring about people. So that's really great. I love that. I love that about you. So Anything you want to finish up with before we conclude?
Yeah, I just want to leave this off with anybody in 2025. Like, if you have a goal, right? 2025, whatever you're going to do, if you're going to play, you might as well win, right? So establish what that means. Like, what's winning?
Yeah.
Right, if you're going to play the game, let's win the whole freaking thing.
Right.
Like, let's not be 1 foot in, 1 foot out. So,
Right. And don't forget the rookie roundtable on Monday nights.
yes.
Rookie roundtable. I need to know more about it.
It's a great community, really cool people. Jay, I would love to have you on there at some point to, talk about what you do and share your wisdom with people.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to be there. I'd love to do it. Let's get with Jessica and let's make sure we get a link and I'll do that. Is it really late because we're 2 hours difference and I'm old and
It's
I go to
4
bed
p.m.
early.
Pacific.
Oh,
It'll be
okay,
6 p.m. your time.
Okay, that's good. It's not at 8
I'm not gonna
o'clock.
run midnight.
Yeah. Well, because it's 2 hours difference, and
Yeah.
I'm old, so I go to
There's
bed
people
early.
all around the country and actually even all around the world that join. There's
Oh, that's
people
awesome.
from like Nigeria that joins and Europe that joins and stuff.
That's great, man. Congratulations. That is so awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, I look forward to meeting you in person. I'll be in Vegas. I'll be in Vegas a couple of months probably, or 2-3 months, and I'll make sure I get with Jessica and maybe I can come on a Monday night. Do you do all these? This is all over. It's virtual or something. It's all
It's
online.
virtual, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. You don't have a big. You don't have like the Bob Newhart show where I can go, or Jessica or whatever show where you can come in.
Oh, you mean on set? On set?
Yeah.
I mean, we could do one. I'll just go get a studio and then we can do the show on set.
See how great a guy you are. You would do that, and I know you would. That's the great. I know you would do that, man.
I
that's
got
awesome.
plenty of studios here that I've gone to, and they know me. I know them.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, great. Well, hey,
It's actually a good idea. I think I might actually start doing that.
yeah. I'll
Take
tell you
this
what.
up a
Yeah,
notch-
you
a notch.
charge people enough admission to pay for the front deal, and man, you get this.
No.
You get this.
It's a free offer.
You get the screens. Get the screens and all that. And I was with Tony Robbins, one of Tony Robbins' sales managers this past week, and she was talking about the studio that they built in West Palm for Tony Robbins, and it has
Crazy.
all these different TVs and every. I mean, it's like find one of those and just rent it, man. I'd love to do that. That would be great. That'd be a great.
There
thing
is
to do.
is one here. There's multiple here.
Is there?
The NFL uses this place called Voo Studios, and I know the owner really well.
Oh wow.